All right, does it work? It does work. Very good. So welcome to the 12 o'clock masterclass, Peace in Mind in Logistics through an AI Copilot. So logistics, especially in operations, sometimes feels like you're juggling a chainsaw whilst riding a motorcycle. And if something happens, it immediately becomes extremely painful. So imagine there was a co-pilot, not just a co-pilot, but actually an AI co-pilot that takes a lot of work from those who are doing the daily job. A co-pilot that never actually sleeps, is 24/7 available, has your back at any time, and is doing a lot of work and takes a lot of stress from the people who are actually in operations. So today we are going to speak about exactly that particular AI co-pilot and what that looks like, how it supports operations, and how it helps the operators to navigate through challenging times, and also how it can prevent these challenging times from happening. I'm very thrilled to co-host the session today with Kamil. I'm very glad that he was already introduced, like myself, but let me lose a couple of words as well. Kamil is the Chief Product and Technology Officer, and he has a wealth of experience in the industry working for Microsoft and also Lyft. He was at that time responsible for the delivery of innovative solutions to millions of users, and is today at Forto responsible to bring the technology logistics product to the next tech level. And myself, my name is Christian. I've been in the industry for more than 20 years. So at a very different background, very traditional logistics background, touched industries like automotive logistics, industrial, spare parts, food and beverages. And my core motto has always been to develop genuine, good customer solutions that actually bring a value and operational excellence. So the synergies of those two worlds, the world of Kamil, who is very tech-driven, and my world, very traditional logistics, has brought us to where we are today, hence the AI Copilot. So we are going to speak a little bit about who we are today, Forto's AI vision, how that is implemented into the operational world. You will actually meet the AI Copilot, and at the end, we'll hopefully give you a couple of takeaways with you that you can speak about with colleagues, friends, and ideally also with us in our booth. Again, we have a dual focus. We are on the one hand a very traditional logistics company moving cargo from A to B, but at the same time we have a very diligent way to develop tech solutions. And this brings us into a very unique situation to focus on the one hand on operations and on the other hand on developing tech. And you will see that when you look at the results, it is a very practical solution that people in our company can use every day that help them, and it's a very reliable solution. Now, this is our vision. We are building the backbone of global trade to make shipping products as easy as sending an email. Now, I'm going to let that sink for a second. It's a very, very bold statement. It's also a courageous statement. But if you see what we are doing with these AI solutions, we're making very tiny steps towards exactly that, to make it as easy as sending an email. And the good thing is, we are a small but still powerful company. We can make decisions fast, we can act agile, and we can act smart and fast. Because if you look at our size, yes, we are 700 people globally. We are in 15 locations in 7 countries, and we have long-lasting partnerships. That is a traditional logistics world. But we also have a very prestigious customer base with logos that are actually very good representatives of the industry, where we are trying what we are doing and what we are implementing. So if we think solutions, we have 3 areas. The first one is the platform. The platform is basically where the Forto shipments are handled in a very data-driven environment. We are connected with over 200 data points to make sure that what is in that platform is valuable, accurate, and also at the right time and the right time when the customer or our operational people need it. The integrations, we want to be able to be as fast as possible able to produce data and also information. So we try to be connected to all players within the supply chain with EDIs or APIs to make sure that we have the information from the source as quickly as possible. And the service. Obviously, we also are a normal logistics provider. We work with very traditional logistics teams that know how to do the service. However, they are supported by a TMS system that we developed ourselves. And to give you an example how that works, and that's unique, I was told by customers that it is unique. We do not actually need to send emails with our customers. It works with an own communication feed. So if, for example, you had a problem with a shipment, you can pull out that shipment feed and you don't need to run through 1,000 emails. It is always attached, the communication is always attached to a shipment. And all of this is the basis for how we create and how we build solutions. And eventually also, what we are going to hear in a minute, the AI pilot. And the thing that made us successful, at least when we talk about the AI pilot, we begin by understanding the customer challenges first and then apply the relevant technology and innovation to it. And one thing that I want to point out, since we have a very traditional area and a very tech-driven area, it's a very different way of thinking when you start solving problems and developing solutions. So let me ask you a question. Before we go into, and before I leave the stage to Kamil, on a scale from 1 to 5, how familiar are you with the use of AI in logistics? So 1 is you're actually able to open a computer, and 5 is you can teach lessons. Very good. That's nearly perfect. So we're basically in the middle. The majority of people in this room are probably not 100% sure, but say, okay, we can learn something, but we're also not complete rookies. So I think it's actually going to be a very big value for you to listen to what Kamil has to say, and I'm looking forward to hearing it too. So thank you very much. Go ahead.
Thank you, Christian. Let's see where we are. Okay, so the title of the presentation, the talk that we want to give is Peace of Mind in logistics and how we do it through AI. We started with this statement that peace of mind in logistics, we believe, is a little bit of it feels like a distant future. Everything that happens in the world impacts the business, impacts the logistics, impacts the supply chains. The port closures, the strikes, macroeconomic situations, everything that happens around the world geopolitically has an impact on the businesses that our customers care about. So one thing that we hear a lot from our customers is that they don't feel that they have the control over their own business because of their dependency on everything else happening that impacts the goods that they need either for manufacturing or for retail. So that's why we started with, again, peace of mind in logistics feels like a distant future, but it doesn't have to. Even though AI is not going to, anytime soon, stop the wars, AI is not going to prevent hurricanes, AI is not going to avoid the port strikes, we believe that there are AI-powered solutions that can alleviate the stress coming from those events and reflective on logistics and supply chains. With that, in general, I'm a little bit nervous in front of the crowds. So part of this presentation, what we did is, as an introduction, we recorded a video. So I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a breather. and work on my anxiety while you guys are watching the video that talks about, again, AI in general, and then we're going to take over and double-click.
Hello again. As I mentioned, speaking to audiences was never my strong suite, and I get nervous for events such as this one. Therefore, I decided to at least do the introduction to my session through this recording. This will give me time to breathe a little bit. To begin with, Forto has been using AI and ML-based solutions since 2018. We have solutions for claims identification, checking the accuracy of the invoices, and forecasting the price and the demand in the future. So AI is not new to Forto's tech strategy. What has been truly exciting is the new capabilities that the generative AI has opened for us. The strength of the Gen AI is the ability to understand, distill, and reason context out of distributed and unstructured data and information sources. What does this mean in practice? It means that now we have the ability to feed all email and messaging exchanges, all logistics documents, and all of our standard operating procedures into AI, and use AI to provide consistently high-quality operational and customer service to Forto's customers. Now back to the stage.
Okay, so that was a little bit of a breather. I worked on my anxiety, I feel better. Now here's the question. Which of the following is true for the video? Pull up your phones, scan the barcode, and give an answer. Is it the video completely recorded by me? Is it only the video is generated by AI? Is it only the movement in the video? Is it the whole video? Or are you not sure whether you have seen a video or not? Which is going to be interesting if that's the answer, but we'll come back to that. 11 people, 13. I think last time we got 20, so I'm going to wait for us to hit 20 to see where we are. Okay, 21. Video is completely generated by AI. So that's not me. It took me less than half an hour to create the video, and the only input that I had to create was a 2-minute recording of myself saying anything. It doesn't matter what I say. I actually talked about my family, all that stuff. And then I wrote a text that says, I want this avatar that the system creates to say it. So it was completely AI generated. I'm glad no one said what video. So far we have your attention between us and lunch. Why did we start with this, right? I think one thing that happened is there are a lot of fun ways to interact with generative AI. This is one way to do it. Again, it literally took me half an hour. If you work with ChatGPT, you can ask ChatGPT to write a poem for your anniversary, and it's going to do a pretty good job, right? But the question in the industry is, given all the strength and the power of generative AI, what does it mean for us? How can we use it? We're not going to create videos that solves the shipping problems, right? So we believe we have an answer at Forto. But before we talk about the answer, let's talk about some of the chronic problems that I believe exist in the industry. So remember my introduction a little bit. I've been with the industry for 3 years or so. I was not part of logistics supply chains up until I joined Forto. I worked in other industries, so I still have the outsider perspective. The main problem that I see is unreliable data. The data is not consistent. The data is not timely. The data cannot be trusted. You have 3 sources telling you the same data. They contradict with each other, right? That's number one. Number 2, poor communication. You have a question about your shipment, your transport, what's happening, and it takes a while to get a very simple answer. The answers are delayed, sometimes they are not accurate, there's a lot of back and forth. Number 3, there's a low operational service quality because of data issues, because of communication, because of documentation, but also because sometimes the operators working do not remember what you care about. The customer preferences are lost in the transaction. Number 4, inefficient document handling. At the end, in logistics, we talk about 3 flows. Flow of goods, flow of money, flow of data. If you don't have the flow of data, which depends heavily on the documentation exchange between different parties, flow of goods and flow of money will be distracted. Goods will get stuck at customs, inaccurate invoices, claims that you have to deal with. So we believe those 4 main chronic problems in the industry that is reflective of how well the service and operations quality can be provided can be addressed by AI-based solutions that we're going to talk about. So I'm going to make two statements. The first statement is, at Forto, we believe that these challenges can be tackled with the usage of AI in new ways. Why the new ways? AI has been around for 40, 60 years, depending on how you count it. Again, we've used AI since 2018 in forecasting, in claims detection, detecting inaccuracies in invoices. But generative AI opened up a set of new strengths in the industry that we believe have a very strong use that we're going to, again, go over. The second statement, we also believe that in not so distant future, 90% of shipment handling and customer support will be handled by AI. I was listening one of the main stage panels about digitization of logistics, the never-ending question. And one of the panelists said, in the next 20 to 30 years, we believe things will change. 20 to 30 years, I don't know if we're going to have this conference or a version of this conference. When we say 90% of tasks will be automated, in my scale of not so distant, it's less than 5 years because the technology is moving super fast. With that, I would like to understand how many of you have used ChatGPT so far? Or a similar service, doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be OpenAI. So I'd like to get a sense of how much you know about what we're talking about when we say generative AI, what it has, the strength of it, etc. Okay, 20. So it looks pretty good. Everybody seems to have used it or is shy to admit that they haven't, even though this is anonymous, that's fine. Why is that question? Because I was trying to calibrate how much I should talk about what's behind generative AI. So, if I have to summarize, generative AI is based on a new way of algorithmic methodologies that are powering large language models. If I have to summarize in one sentence what that large language model is, it's basically a system capability that the system can extract and synthesize context out of distributed and unstructured data. Okay, so what does this mean? Think about what we're doing in logistics supply chain. We have the email chains with the customer. We have the email chains with the vendors. We have all these data sources coming from the carriers, from the customs brokers, from data aggregators. Then we have our own systems that operators create data. And we have all the standard operating procedure documents. Now, that is unstructured and distributed data. What LLMs can do, and that's where we're going to see in a second a couple of examples, is you can build systems using large language models sitting on top of this distributed data set, which is our business, right? And then system can make context out of it. You ask a question, you get an answer. You ask an analysis, you get an answer in a fairly accurate manner. So that's what the LLMs are. With that, our solution, I give you Forto's Copilot. Now, it's a little bit difficult to talk about Copilot because it's primarily a back-end system, right? Like, I was trying to find an analogy of how to describe this. So I'm talking, you hear my voice, I make hand gestures, I walk around. What governs that? My brain. Can you see my brain? Not really, right? So you should think about Copilot. It's a transport brain that sits on top of the data and the operational procedures. It's difficult to show it. What we can show is what it does. So in the next 3 consecutive slides, you're going to see a video that is kind of looping. It's a little bit of an eye candy. So you have to trust us that it's actually doing what we're saying it's doing, right? But it's basically, I don't know if you know, Forto, we have our own TMS. Copilot sits on top of our TMS. So you're going to see the screens that are evolving with the help of the Copilot. You're not going to make a lot of sense out of it. That's why I'm going to talk about what the Copilot is doing and what decisions it makes while you're watching the video. So number 1, the first problem that we talked about, remember, unreliable data, data everywhere, contradicting. So again, unfortunately, it's not super visible. Every time you see the dog flipping, it's actually Copilot doing something, okay? But what the Copilot does in this case is that we have a shipment, and the Copilot says, I need the ATB number. Who knows what's an ATB number? It's not a slide question. Okay, a couple of people. It's basically a customs reference number required in Germany for every shipment, right? So it says, I need an ATB number. What do I need to do? We have a customs broker. It knows that it needs to go to the webpage of the customs broker, find the shipment, fetch the ATB number, and then brings it back to our TMS, and then surfaces the operator that, hey, this is the ATB number that I got. Do you approve that I write this into our TMS? Yes, no. Operator says yes, ATB number is in. Now, one thing that's a difference between a co-pilot and autopilot. Autopilot doesn't have human approval. It just does things. This is a co-pilot, so every major decision, we surface the recommendation or decision to the operator and ask, is this the right thing to do? Eventually, it's going to evolve into an autopilot. Why do we have the co-pilot? Because still it's in the learning mode. Still it's in training mode, and we're developing that. So that's why we would like to make sure that the operator has the last say in the decision that the system decides. So this is a fairly easy example. Let's talk about something a little bit more complicated. The other problem that we talked about is, again, missing the customer preferences, and basically that impacting the quality of the service that the business of our customers deserve, right? So again, you have the video, the dog is flipping, but here's what's happening on the background. The vessel has a delay, okay? We got a timestamp from wherever we get it that says this vessel is gonna arrive late. Copilot detects that and then looks at the new vessel arrival date and time, checks that with the on carriage that we have already planned, because we already have a trucker who is ready to go pick up the container from the yard and take it out. And it concludes that actually the new vessel arrival date contradicts with the time that I have for on-carriage booking. Then it kicks off the process of replanning the on-carriage, okay? The first thing it does, what does an operator do when the vessel is late and you have to replan the on-carriage? You call or you send an email to the customer and you ask, hey, sorry, things are delayed. You know, here's the new proposed time. Are you okay with that? So that creation of the new time slots, creation of the email, and sending that to the customer is completely handled by Copilot. The customer might say yes, the customer might say no, doesn't matter. Copilot understands the context. If the customer says no, proposes another time. If the customer says yes, great. Then it creates another chain of emails. Who does the Copilot contact? The intermodal partners. It sends the email and says that we need to rebook. Here's the new time slot. Here's the pickup location. Can you confirm the booking? If the answer is yes, great. It looks at the rates and then it basically books with the partner. And at the end, what it does is it surfaces the new booking and tells the operator, hey, this is what I've done. This is getting delayed. I know we need to rebook, replan. I already confirmed with the customer the new time and slot. I already booked with the new provider of the intermodal. Here is the latest information. Are you okay? Me writing this into the TMS. Yes, no. Okay? And all of that happens pretty instantaneously. That's why it was difficult to record the videos and show you, because technically it just happens in a matter of seconds. The only thing that we wait is on the other side, people actually responding back to us. Okay? Use case number 3. The third problem we talked about is document handling. Why do the documents matter? Again, this industry is based on data exchange in the form of attachments and documents and EDIs and shared FTPs and all that stuff. That should get all retired eventually, okay? Oh, video. So the Copilot has the ability to do a couple of things. That's what you're gonna see. First of all, we have inboxes that the Copilot listens. Why? Because technically, when a document, how does a document arrive? The document arrives as an attachment generally to one of the customer representatives or an operator, right? Here is the customs declaration. Here's the carrier booking confirmation. Here is the shipping instructions. The Copilot listens the inbox, fetches the document. The first thing it does is categorization. Among all the documents that I know I have to handle, is this a carrier booking confirmation? Is it a customs declaration? What is it? After that, it knows what to extract from the document. So it does that. That's what you're seeing with the Hapag-Lloyd carrier confirmation, which is the 4th update. You can see it in yellow. They sent 4 versions of this. Someone has to keep track, not anymore. Copilot can do it, okay? And then it extracts the data, and then it cross-checks the data with the TMS data, and if it finds any conflicts, surfaces that to the operator and says, here's the conflict that I found. What do you want me to do? Okay, I can override or I can just ignore it. But at the end, the end-to-end process is all about making sure we take the operators out of just manually punching information into systems or checking multiple systems for data accuracy. In 2023, at Forto, we processed over 200,000 documents. Someone grabbed one of these 200,000 documents, opened it up, looked what's inside, correlated that what's in the email, because as you know, sometimes see the attached document, and there are 3 things that you have to ignore in the document and read this email. So someone had to spend that time. Now, Copilot can handle that end-to-end and make it available in the system again, so the operators can focus on what really matters. So we've seen a couple of use cases. Next question, what's the first word that comes to mind when you think of AI, given what you've seen so far? Three participants typing. We need more typers, automation, efficiency, agents. What else? Speed. Fear. I agree with fear. And automation. Okay, 12 people. I need a couple of more, otherwise we're going to keep waiting. Okay, so 3 big words: agents, support, automation, efficiency. I fully agree. One thing that was difficult in the session is everything that is built is kind of internal for us, right? Because it makes our operators faster, it alleviates all the human error, fat fingering of the data, but at the end, those are the causes of service quality problems that our customers face, right? So if you go back, I fully agree, automation, agents, innovation support, efficiency, all of that can be accomplished with especially what we use at the moment at Forto. And in return, the point is that we believe we're developing the first transport management co-pilot in the industry to assist the operators. Why do we do that? Not only because it's going to help streamline operations, but we believe this is going to remove a lot of the root causes of service issues, quality problems that the industry faces. One last question. What do you see as the biggest barrier of adapting AI in logistics? Remember, the word cloud said we can automate, we can be efficient, we're going to have agents. The world is going to be amazing, and we are not as fearful as we might be with some of this technology. Okay. All right, 20 people. It's jumping up and down. But I guess the 2 winners are resistance to change within the organization, lack of expertise or knowledge. I fully agree. The first one is what we're facing. It's not easy. You know, what I showed you, it makes me super excited. I think it's really cool. I think it's really innovative. I don't think there's anything else out there that is similar to what you've seen. But again, when we talk about this, the natural question from our own teams are, but what does this mean for me? Am I going to lose my job? Right? And the answer, and it's an honest answer, you're not going to lose your job, but your job description will significantly change. Everything that you complain about doing things manually and over again, that is all these lists of tasks that you have to complete, it's going to go away. So you can actually build the real relationship with the customer. You don't have to do back and forth so many times that frustrates you, and at the end comes back to you as your manager telling you, hey, you did something wrong, or you didn't answer or respond to the customer on time. So I don't think it's going to replace the operators, but it's going to change their job description. But I do agree that there's going to be resistance in the org, lack of expertise, knowledge. One way to deal with that is talk to us, right? I hope I gave the impression I kind of know what I'm talking about. So we can close the gap on your side, right? If you feel you lack the knowledge and expertise, we'll be happy to to help you think through about the problems that you have. Everything that you've seen, the co-pilot, the document extraction, these are solutions that can be generalized. They don't have to work on Forto's TMS. They can work on any other systems that we'll be happy to have a conversation about. With that, I'm going to pass it to Christian for the wrap-up.
Very good. Last couple of words, promise. So first of all, I'm not only proud listening to it, I'm also proud talking about what we've done. And it's a very unique way of improving our service. Everything that you heard is basically developed in a way towards service quality. improving service quality, making it more efficient, making the use and the time of the people that are working on shipment much more efficient, much more effective. And if I want to bring one thing before we go home, one thing that I want to leave you guys with, we've actually been able to do a shipment fully automated, an LCL shipment fully automated without any human interaction. So what we just heard is a co-pilot, it supports, but actually we've been able to do a shipment, and it's a real one, an LCL shipment that was done without any human interaction. And I think that shows how far we are away from handling shipments as easy as emails. And it does show how many steps we can do in that direction of becoming more and more effective and of becoming more and more service-oriented. So thank you very much for listening. I know we're a bit over time, but appreciate your listening. And I'm looking forward to speaking to you also about these automated shipments, the LCL one, reminder, in Hall 2G1. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, let's hear it. So guys, I received so many questions, but we run out of time, so I will ask you two of them. Is it fine? Is it okay for you? So, which one? Kamil, which Gen AI video tool did you use? Which tool? Gen AI tool.
On the back end, we use OpenAI for the main core. But we also, for some of the other work, we use the visual language models that comes out of Gemini of Google. So two systems, or two core service providers, let's say.
All right. And is your target audience only Forto customers, or is it open to others?
So, as I mentioned, the technology that we build, currently it sits on top of our own TMS and our own processes, but we build it in a way that, for example, the data capture out of the documents that I described, we can provide that as a service to any third party, any ecosystem partner. Our model knows how to handle, at the moment, 12 different document types. But for example, we're talking to one of the customs brokers. Their documents are very different than our documents, but we can train the model fairly quickly to handle their documents. So if you're interested, I'll be happy to talk to you about what we can provide.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your masterclass. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
So let's have a big round of applause for Kamil Rodoper and Christian Reinhold. Thank you very much.